man, Gully TV, finally got you on Changing Jewels, man. Finally got you
Pleasure,
Changing
pleasure
Jewels,
to be
man.
here, Kurt.
Definitely, man, definitely, man. How you feel, man?
I'm great, man. Just blessed to be here. When I got the call, I was, flattered, really. So,
Yeah,
shout out to you. Let's
yeah,
do it.
yeah, yeah. I'm gonna have to call you Jay-Z or Biggie Small, man. You got down the first take, man. As soon as I call you, man, so you right on, man. We had to get down there. I'm down there, you know what I'm saying, man. I definitely appreciate that, man. That
I
means a
be
lot,
taking
man.
the opportunities to be in front of the camera. I be taking them real serious these days. I got the podcast. I got a lot going on. So,
Yeah,
again,
yeah.
shout out to you for the opportunity.
Yeah, we're gonna get to that podcast too. I know that's gonna be fire. Whatever you touch, normally turn to fire, man. But just for the people who don't know about you, man, tell us a little about yourself, where you from, how you grew up, and stuff like that.
My name is Jamil Lindsay. I'm from Erie, Pennsylvania, East Side. Um, Before anything, I was a basketball player. I'm still totally infatuated with the game of basketball. I never consider myself to be anything else besides a basketball player. There was times when I went astray. It took me to prison.
Okay.
um,
Okay.
yeah, man.
Count
Just
time.
yeah. Living other than what God chose me to be. I ended up incarcerated, but I'm a basketball player. Basketball afforded me opportunities to have a good education. I was in prep school. I went to college briefly, but during the course of that, I started to play with media and cameras and shit like that.
Right. Okay, yeah, man. Cause like every time I hear the Erie, Pennsylvania, man, I think about you, man. It's like you put that joint on the map. 'Cause every time I think about anything in Pennsylvania, obviously I think Philly,
Right.
Pittsburgh, stuff like that, man. Give us real short. Somebody like me, I never been to Erie, Pennsylvania, man. What is like? Is it?
Erie is in western Pennsylvania, primarily known as a football powerhouse in Pennsylvania. A lot of times, the state football championship, the the team more than likely will come from Erie if they're from the western part of Pennsylvania. Bob Sanders, James Conner, tailback for the Arizona Cardinals, Eric Hicks, just a lot of football players out of western Pennsylvania.
Yeah.
If anybody went anywhere in life from Erie, Pennsylvania, it was more than likely because of athletics. So,
Yeah, it's funny you say that. Now I'm thinking that, man. My man LeVon Ernst, we always argue back and forth about football and sports and
right,
all. And he always talking about Pennsylvania got the best football players and
without a
all
doubt,
that.
without a doubt.
What's his
LeVar
name?
Arrington, that's Western Pennsylvania,
Oh yeah,
Pittsburgh. So
yeah,
yeah,
oh yeah, yeah.
yeah,
Slim was a dog, man. When he first came to the Redskins, man, we met up, man. Real dude, good dude,
right.
man. Used to get the all days. I mean, and he wasn't no typical celebrity getting all day. He was one dude come up before I can give him the bag. He pulling out money. I said, no, I'm paying for it. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So Shorty was a good man, man. I mean, he a grown man, but man, yeah. Shout out to
Yeah.
LeVar, man. Yeah, definitely, man. So, you said you got in a little trouble when you was coming up. Did you ever do any incarceration time?
Yeah, I caught a 3 to 9 at 18 or 19, something like that. Playing the block, conspiracy, drug case. Um, I'm of that generation where basically all of us got in trouble. Like out of all my peers, my contemporaries, I think there was one who doesn't have a drug case, but every last one of us got drug cases. It was we just got caught up in that epidemic, and where I was at, we didn't do anything else besides hustle and play basketball. So
Right. So the gang culture, was it in that area any? Or
it came later. But the guys that I was around a bunch of pretty niggas.
oh, right, yeah. Chasing them raw.
Yeah, man,
Yeah.
bunch of paper chasers and shit like that.
Yeah.
So
Oh, okay. And I noticed, man, when I be checking you out online, I see you not only you doing your journalist piece, but you be in the workout real strong. Was that something you picked up from jail or being a hooper?
oh nah, I've always been an athlete. In 2008, 17 or 18, I started playing ball again, and to keep up with the younger guys, I had to dedicate myself to the gym. I wasn't healing right, like after games and shit like that. My
Right.
body would be all broke up, so I had
Right.
to start actually really training and throwing myself into fitness again. A documentary came out in 2019, I believe, called "What the Health," and it sparked a lot of awareness about eating clean and eating plant-based products and stuff like that.
Right.
So that my journey into the plant-based world and fitness, it kind of went hand to hand.
Right.
And if you look at it, it's kind of like turned into a fad now. But I'm an athlete. It was always in me.
Right. Okay. That's good. So, man, when did you wake up and say, man, I'm gonna do Gully TV? Where did the name come from? Where did the concept come from? What inspired you even to jump in that lane, man?
I started out as a ghostwriter. I was writing books first. I was signed in 2004 to Triple Crown Publications, and it was my first time being up in the presence of a millionaire every day. And after I was initially signed to a contract, I got signed.
And not to cut you off, the millionaire is the owner of the company. Who the
Yeah,
millionaire?
Vicky. Her name was Vicky Stringer.
Okay.
And I'm around her every day.
Right.
Going to meetings and going out to dinner and stuff like that. And I said to myself, I got to get some more paper out of her. I was already signed to her company, and I was also signed as a ghostwriter, but I didn't really take home no more than $10,000. So I was really looking for something to sell her. And prior to coming home and prior to getting my book deal, I had wrote a pilot for a TV show called Gully TV. And it was essentially what turned out to be Smack DVD. All of us got this bright idea at once. Yeah, all of us got this bright idea at once. So I presented to her what I felt would be a dope media platform, and she wasn't really receptive to it at the time. And I went out on my own. That was in 2004. I moved to Atlanta, and with really no connections into the entertainment business, I just start pointing my camera and working.
Right. So you came with the skill set with the writing and investigating and doing the research and all that.
Definitely. I brought that from I was always good at writing book reports, and the way that I approach media, like for instance, let's say I'm interviewing you.
Right.
It would start out on paper. I would start out writing some notes and write basically what essentially is a treatment.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And yeah, it was always writing. It was always writing.
Right,
so.
Okay. And for like a lot of young viewers coming up, because I know a lot of times this just hit my brain, you use that term ghostwriter, and I know a lot of young, they be getting to the music or getting into books and all that. The ghostwriting joint, is it profitable, or is it a way you could have structured it to get more money? Because you said something about $10,000.
It's profitable because it's profitable because it having this skill to write for people. It creates a air of marketability. People will pursue you, so to speak. Writing was something that I did naturally, but I learned that in the entertainment business, people were sought after. Everything involved in media began as scripted or a treatment or something. At some point, there was some type of writing involved, and I was comfortable writing. I was always comfortable writing. So, doors open because of that. You know what I mean?
Okay. So, I mean, I think if I'm not mistaken, when we first met, we talked a few times. When we first met face to face, man, it was like downtown Washington D.C. at a hotel, right?
Capitol Hill.
Capitol Hill, right? And I'm saying, so when you got into the game, you actually was coming to Joker's Town and all that, man. And,
I would try to develop a relationship. When I came to D.C. initially, I believe one of the people that I met first was Mike Gill.
My man Mike,
I met the basketball players first.
Mike, bad man. Thrill, Mike Thrill, shout out.
Yeah, shout out to Gill.
Yeah.
I met the basketball players first, man, and they basically was telling me, like, we was all in the club, we was in the chapter together. We was over here together. You know what I'm saying? So from Mike Gill, I met Victor Page. I was introduced to Victor. And during the course of that, I was developing a relationship with Kareem Moab from First and Kennedy Crew. We both are spent some time in media production. He got his own production company. So me and him was developing a relationship just off of that.
Right.
And when I come through, man, I just introduce myself, man. Like I said, I met the basketball players first.
Right.
I'm Jamil. I'm a former ball player. It's a pleasure to meet you. I let guys know what it is that I'm doing, and they've been receptive to it in D.C.
Right, yeah.
For sure.
Yeah, coming up, when I first seen, I think Twin was there, and Lil Pop's son.
Yeah,
was
all on the
there.
same night.
Right,
so I came correct, man.
Yeah. Then you down there. I said, man, you wasn't in no motherfucking motel. You downtown at the Hilton, Cap, one of them expensive joints. I said, the buzz, that shit get costly going town to town like that, I'm assuming.
Gotta be right down there in the thick of it, man. Where all the lights is at, man.
Right.
So you know.
Right. And real quick, Mike, and I it's crazy 'cause I always call you Gully. I never really kept up with Jamil, your real name, right?
Jamil
But you
Lindy.
said Vicky String. I'm thinking about something. I had a good friend, Nikki Turner. She's the right.
She was there.
She still do write books. Was you around the same time she was there?
Nikki Turner, Terry Wood, Shannon Holmes. These were all basically my co-workers at the time. They were those people that I just named. They were all at the top of the game back then.
Yeah.
It was they was somebody who I was trying to keep up with them back then.
Yeah. Shout out to Nikki. When you say that Vicky, I said I know that name somewhere. Vicky.
Vicky
Nikki
Stringer.
always talk about her, man.
Yeah,
Nikki
she's from
Turner,
Columbus, Ohio. She gave a lot of people some good opportunities.
Okay. That's the best. I'm gonna have to get Nikki up here now. I'm thinking about that. What's the name, man? So, what made you? I know as I look at your podcast or your interviews, it'd be a lot of street guys or a lot of guys with kind of dark passes, right?
Right.
What made you select that demographic? Or
It selected me, and it started when I came to D.C.
Oh, yeah.
It started when I came to D.C. When I did that interview with Ears to Christ, that just blew the top off of Washington, D.C.'s past, so to speak. There was a lot of names mentioned, a lot of people who weren't a part of online media. They were from a darker place. And when I interviewed him, people just started to come out of the woodwork. It started heavily in DC because after his story or his account of what happened, I got emails from people and court cases, and everybody wanted to interject and say, nah, it didn't happen like that. He told you half of it.
Right.
This is what happened.
Right.
And the more of this media that came out from this period, probably 1988 to 92, it might have been a 4-year window. Everybody who was active during that period, the Safe Streets Task Force period, everybody wanted to rush and tell their story. And I was someone who was known for doing it and known for being respectful. So I could interview someone who probably had homicides on their jacket, but we're not going to talk about it. And I can highlight some of your more positive traits, and we can conduct a dope interview without talking about homicide. And once it got around to people that it's safe to talk to him, he don't have no loaded questions. That's what happened. I became known as the go-to guy for that style media.
Because man, you cracked a code or a rock that was dead and impossible to crack. When I say that, you had DC dudes open up, getting on platforms like this, talking about stuff like that. Always been a taboo. And we always say we keep shit in the house. You know what I'm saying? So I was like, how the fuck this nigga breaking code? He getting dudes to crack and come open, right?
It started out with the with the basketball and the fashion. Seriously, the fashion has always been a part of my platform. So when we talking DC and we talking basketball, we talking about basketball players who might have went shopping at the Madness shop,
Shout out to Town Ed.
Georgetown, the same places that was frequented by the street hustlers.
Right.
So before you know it, we might have started out in a conversation about a pair of Gucci boots and shit, and it went further into the chapter.
Right.
So,
yeah. You're right. That's crazy. The fact I don't think people realize how big the fashion culture is in DC. You know what I'm saying?
Huge,
like the style, the trends,
huge, storied and documented. I love the pictures. The DC pictures attracted me to DC heavily. I got an older brother, so I was already a student of fashion, just loving every minute of it. But when the DC pictures hit social media, the Gucci boots, the polo boots, the Eddie Bauer snorkel, the Coogee sweaters, and the New Balance, the 996. It went crazy, man. It went crazy. And I'm a collector, man, so I wanted to talk to niggas about fly shit. Like, we always getting this shit at.
And I was saying, I got a couple interviews. They interviewed me about the New Balance thing, because I've been seeing like a lot of the Baltimore and Philly guys. They be on the social media battling with the DC guys, and I was like, the years they hard, and I said, man, we was wearing that shit in '82.
It's actually New York, Philly, and DC. Y'all all fight over the New Balance.
Right, yeah.
We ain't got to the bottom of it.
Right, yeah. I think New Balance did a little article, and after they put some clarity on it a little bit on the cover of their little articles, or whatever.
Right.
But you know, back then you just doing what you're doing, right?
Yeah.
Right.
Out the park, niggas know me. Curtbone, little homie. All days, yeah. Been a road.